Proof of concept. I got receipts, bro. You know what I mean? And I ain't even got it. And I ain't even gotta talk about. And I ain't even gotta talk about my close friends. You know what I'm saying? Like we can keep it OT. You feel me? You ain't happy to be here. They not gonna be happy to be here.
Turn the headphones up, babe. Yeah.
Mic check, mic check. My mic is a little loud.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Coach and Benny Infomercial Podcast.
This is Coach.
And this is Benny. We're going to start off here today with reading a little excerpt from the 10 Stat Commandments by Benjamin B. Banks, better known as Benny Banks. This is the 5th commandment that we're going to be looking at. Coach, you want to do the honors?
Okay. The 5th commandment. Everyone is a potential customer. It is very important that this commandment is grasped and understood. An entrepreneur is someone who views the world as his place of business, and those who occupy it are his customers. The successful businessman lives by the salesman code. Do not accept no as a no, but as a yes. This attitude allows you to attain the success your soul so desires. By having an outlook that everyone is a potential customer, places your product or services outside the realm of limitations, restrictions, and confinements. There isn't but one demographic you're targeting that in this world. This places you so far ahead of your competitors, for while they are focusing on attracting a specific market, consumer, or customer, you are focusing on making them the market, consumer, or customer. Do not limit yourself. Live above expectations. Remember, you are not only providing a service or product, but you are selling yourself. If your mentality is such, it makes what you have to offer that much more important. Moral conduct is but richness of the soul. Benny Banks. Morality is the thriving force in customer service. A kind word, a simple gesture is very effective and is more effective way to landing a deal. A successful entrepreneur in business does not place limitations on his product. Benjamin Banks.
No. Yes. The focal point here that I would like to point out in just this little excerpt is that moral conduct is but richness of the soul. And this here will, give us a little intro into what we're going to be talking about with you guys today. And that is the friendship amongst partnerships, friendships amongst business. Discussing how a lot of relationships, whether healthy or unhealthy, and how to balance between having, a friendship as well as a partnership within business without tarnishing one or the other.
Yes.
And is it possible that you can be a friend with your business partner, or do it have to be a definitive line as if, no, we're not friends if we're business partners, we're just business partners, or no, we're business partners and we're also friends? So I would like to really delve into that today. What you think, Coach?
Yeah, I think that's very important to business. And what you mentioned, the way I conceptualize it is a circle. it's a revolving circle. And it was a quote that I seen before that your friends don't support, but your clients will become friends. It's something along that nature. Like, all of your clients are friends, but all of your friends aren't clients. And I think that it sounded smart when I first heard it. And it was like, oh yeah, the client is your friend. But eventually the client becomes your friend. And you may have another idea. And now you're going to carry your friends from the old idea into the new idea. And now, because they're not necessarily the client you're going after, are they discarded? No. So we're taking friends along with us through our life journey. We're meeting new friends. We're developing around the needs and the interests of our friends. And this is a lot of how our businesses get started. Our friends have common goals. Our friends have common challenges. Our friends are the first people that we have access to in school and things like that. And then, yes, when you do business and you do good business, and when you show good hospitality, because business has a lot to do with hospitality, that client that was a stranger now becomes your friend. You're sending them gifts, to their family. You're sending them holiday gestures, or there's more camaraderie than just a business. Or what makes the business continue is that there's an endearment or there's a friendship. So this motivates me to go back, where I may not need the product, but I'm going to prefer my friend. So this space is a revolving space. It's not a one in out or a one-sided perspective.
Just to elaborate on the statement that you brought, or the quote that you brought, that all of your customers are potential friends or become friends, and all of your friends are, all of your your clients become friends, and all of your friends are not
necessarily a customer or client.
What I get from that, the main thing I get from that is about support. The key thing about support. So you might not find all of your friends, which you normally in that scenario, your friend would be the one who supports you. Mm-hmm. But your friend might not be the one who supports you mm-hmm. in your business endeavors.
And that's where you can't let that hinder your confidence.
Exactly. Well, you definitely don't supposed to allow it to hinder your confidence.
Because they may be friends for you for something else that has nothing to do with what you're trying to do. So we put too much pressure, I feel like, on that friendship space when we're trying a business. But although that's the first person that you want to go to, so it can get delicate.
But that's what that's saying to me. What sticks out is what that's saying. It's saying that your clients become friends because of the support level, because they are willing to support your business. They patronize you, and y'all build a relationship via that. But just because you have a friend, you understand?
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be
patronize
your business.
So even if you might expect it from them, but that might not where you might get it. But my thing is, what I really want to get to down to the gist is, friendships and partnerships is a very thin line. Because whenever you're dealing with business, the heart is involved. So the thing is, to me, is if two people who are friends, they go into a business venture together. And if the business venture doesn't pan out or is not successful, doesn't work out, you find them not just leaving off the business, but they leave off the friendship altogether.
Yes. Yeah.
And
well,
go ahead.
It was a statement from an Islamic scholar that you don't find two people being friends and being companions and then not all of a sudden, except that it was due to some moral misconduct between one or both of them. So a lot of times our bad habits, our bad characters, being friends in misgiving. Sometimes the code can backfire, where we partners in crime, and then now we want to try to convert that into a more positive business. Well, sometimes that doesn't always translate because you were better at partners in crime. So understanding the nature of your friendship is very important to understanding how compatible that friendship is to a business concept or a business having longevity. It's like marrying your friend. Just because you're friends with the opposite sex doesn't mean you're compatible for marriage. And because the marriage is gonna take a certain level of strain.
But what I would like to do is take a more eternal dive here. So why is it the case that once the business is no longer in circulation or wasn't successful or that it actually ended, that the friendship has to end? And to me, that is more eternal than external. So an internal look at is, how do the friends actually view one another? How do they feel about one another within their hearts? Sometimes a friend might voice how he feels about you or how she feels about you, right, in a heated argument. Something that they normally wouldn't probably say to you,
and then
came out
you
in
just
exchange.
opportunity to say, let me just let him know this too while we at it, and that's fine. Honestly, that's not as bad as we try to make it seem, because you do need catalysts for getting certain things out. And if you have a safe space, that we are friends, things should not be taken so much to heart that you can't get back right. Words do carry their meaning. Words do hurt. But if we're friends, I've heard my children say some really hurtful things to each other. I hate you. But they'll turn right back around and share and love and hug each other and be mad at somebody else for getting in the middle of that. So if you're truly friends, if you're truly a friend, there's not but so much a friend can do to harm you, because there's love there. There's a compassion there. There's something else there that allows you to have a mercy or forbearance for their harm. But when it comes to business, a lot of times we learn each other. We didn't really know our friend until we had to get into a situation. You didn't know your friend until you got in business with him. You didn't know your friend until you married him. You didn't know your friend until you traveled with him. So sometimes when we get to know each other, we might have realized we weren't really as compatible as we thought we were.
Well,
so it's a discovery
it gives you an insight to their character. So on that level of dealing with them, it's a whole nother look. So when you're talking about transactions, again, that's also a matter that is closer to the heart.
But now, in light of that, if I go into business with my friend, or I go into a different level of relationship with my friend, and then I realize that there's something that is not compatible anymore. We're drifting, we're going in separate ways. We may not talk the same anymore because of all of these different things that we've experienced, and we kind of learned each other. We've outgrown each other. That's a natural thing that it happens. But I shouldn't have a hatred towards you if our business dealings were fair.
And but see, hold on. That's right there one of the solution-based problems solution-based thing that can help us out here.
Okay.
So one of the things that
and this goes into not to cut you off. This goes into that morality portion in the book.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the thing I'm trying to say is, one of the healthy things to keep it intact so that the friendship is not destroyed after the relationship with the business is the simple fact of you saying, as long as y'all both maintain that fear, being fair to one another, the fear conduct or business practices for one another, that there was no betrayal that was felt from either one when it came to the business aspect of things. Because the moment one's feel that you have deceived them or betrayed them in business, is pretty much tarnished over, pretty much carried over.
And those feelings of being betrayed, which is a feeling, those feelings of perhaps distrust at times, that creeps in and out of all relationships, not just business. And transparency, communication,
but
forbearance.
In business, transparency have to be vital.
Yes.
It have to be vital when you have partners or multiple partners.
Yes.
Because this is what's going to keep that at,
and because of our friendships and our honor codes and our honor systems, we put transparency to the side. We assume, we have expectations, and then we live in this gray area, which makes it difficult to get back and understand that, oh no, you were wrong about not trusting me here, or you know what, I did take it upon myself to make an executive decision. Here's the justification for that. You can work it out.
But the thing is, you have to define the roles, the responsibility when you're talking about business. So, and this is what happens. So if y'all want to know why are we talking about friendship and business, because oftentimes when you have an idea or you want to start a business, you normally want to start it with someone that you probably much have some good companionship, you talk to every day with, you see they doing something, so y'all, you know, you have this spark, and you figure, listen, let's get together since we already know each other.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to figure something out to earn some money together, and that's natural. That's the natural process to a lot of our small businesses.
That's the reason why we're talking about friendships. But sometimes what happens is when you get involved with the person and y'all go to that next level, y'all have to be clear cut on the business side of things, as far as the principles of it, as far as the responsibility and roles that you both will actually play. What type of partnership do you guys got?
All of that comes out in the contract.
This is important. This is why the contract is important. This is what's going to keep y'all healthy and keep y'all fair with one another. If you go into the business and y'all don't have none of this stuff ironed out, y'all don't have any of these things, you just think that, no, that's my man, that's my homie, or that's my friend, she's my sister, we're going to ride out. No, you have to be clear.
And at the very least, we're forgetful. So it may not be malicious. Somebody just honestly forgot something. They forgot they said something. They forgot they committed to something.
So
they
this
forgot
is why
to do
writing something down will help line it up. But I honestly believe that when you write it down, you're going to always have to keep revisiting. So what I mean by that is because you can't write everything down. There's going to be some things you're not going to think of at the time you wrote it down. So y'all have those daily meetings, so where you say, okay, let's add this to it. All right, now we got a new responsibility. Say if the business grow, y'all start to, outgrow the space that y'all in. You'll start to outgrow the cells. Then you'll have to add other stuff to it. So
and that operating agreement being an open book that everybody can visit and revisit and come to and do what they need to do. That's what spreadsheets do. That's what writing things down, having notes, recording your minutes. They say you're not even having a business meeting unless you're recording your minutes. So these are things that we have to start to employ as though we're large corporations on a small level.
Recording your minutes plays a major part when it comes to the taxes side of things. Mm-hmm. So definitely knowing that you're conducting a business and you're actually recording those minutes.
Good point.
Plays a part in that. Yeah.
And not to cut you off, I'm just, this is popping up in my mind. Doing your taxes forces you to translate everything that took place in the business that year.
So that's why you record all of that stuff.
So now all of the ideas, all of the notions of deceit, or the notions of somebody withholding information or things like that, anything to do with distrust, a lot of that comes out in your quarterlies. So now you're having these meetings and you're looking at
and
these.
And what I don't want to do
reports.
is, that's another separate topic. I don't want to go into the legalities, because we will have a guest on the show that would go delve into deep when we pick their mind on the legalities of business contracts and how to go about formulating the business LLC and so forth and so on. But my thing is, I want to talk about friendships and how to keep it healthy.
Knowing how to do business protects the friendship.
Yes, if y'all do it correctly. I honestly agree that
and that's
if
the purpose.
Approach the business on a correct standing, y'all both come to it on a correct standing, meaning y'all do things and lay things out by being transparent, by going to the contract, by defining all of these things. It takes
pressure off of the friendship.
It takes a lot of pressure off of the friendship. Now
I don't have to question your integrity every time you walk through the front door.
Well, y'all need to still define what type of partnership you have. And this is why it's extremely important for that. Why do I say this? Because if I got a 50-50 relationship with you where we both split the labor and we both split the capital, right? So if we both split the labor and the capital, and we both, for example, take the risk and the reward, then that type of partnership, meaning that if you're not around, you will make the executive decisions as if you were me. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not around, I will make the you understand?
But the entitlement comes in. One friend doesn't believe that they have to put in a certain amount of rigor or work, and the other friend feels like they're doing all the work. And now they start to have these bickerings and these, I do this, or no, you don't do that. And defining those roles and having those accountability meetings. Okay, what's the?
But how can I hold you accountable if we never define the role? So if you don't have no responsibility, what is I'm holding you accountable for? Mm-hmm. That's why defining the role makes it easy, because now I can say I can hold you accountable to what's in this contract.
But everybody's a boss. Everybody's a CEO. How do you define if we're all CEOs?
Well, to have that syndrome, for a person to have that syndrome, again, it goes back again to what I'm saying. What type of partnership you have, because it's going to define what role you play. Mm-hmm. What's your responsibility? What is your percentage? Mm-hmm. Are you doing more labor than the next person that your partner doing? Right? Should you be compensated more because you're doing more labor? Mm-hmm. Right? With the agreement that you go in, all of that stuff plays a part. But internally, how do you feel about the person you in a business with?
I don't think it matters.
I really do think it matters.
I think that changes like the weather.
No,
you might not like the person the next day. How does that affect the business?
9 times out of 10, I honestly believe the way that we think of one another inside here plays a major role in how we operate one another, how we interact with one another, how we engage one another. I believe that plays a major role, because if I think that you are lesser than, if I think that I am greater than, or I believe that you are inferior here, this is not really your role. This is not really what I see you doing.
So now, how does a person end up in?
So
now, how does a person end up in business that he has a low regard for? Let's talk about that. How do you end up in a space?
Because I might have needed
where a person has a business, or he's in business with a person he has a low regard for.
I might have needed you at the time.
So we're victims of taking advantage of one another.
There you go. I might have needed you at a time. Okay. So if I needed you at a time and I see that this is one of the things that I can do, know what we do,
and it starts to do better than I expected, and now I start to show how I really feel about the situation, that's something that a person has to get over within themselves.
But this is why, again, morality and having a clean
they got to
heart,
take that to the rug. They got to pray on that, because you can't bring that to business, because there are going to be people that you don't think belong in the spot every day you come outside.
Listen, but people do that all the time. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is not far-fetched. Mm-hmm. What is I'm trying to say to you? That's why morality and having a clean heart plays a part, a major part. Because how are we going to have a successful business? You know the most people who do each other wrong? Partnerships.
Yeah.
Business partnerships trample what? They do each other wrong the most. Exactly. Somebody always feel like they're being slighted. And
so
it's not just business partnerships.
The advice that I'm getting
it's
here,
romantic partnerships as well.
Right,
Any type of partnership, you find that they're always what? If those border or perimeters is not actually maintained, it feels like someone is being slighted.
If the respect isn't maintained and the mercy isn't as equal maintained, you're going to always find yourself in this back and forth. I like that you brought that up, and I think that this is a competitive sport. It's an emotional sport.
Emotional intelligence. Okay.
And this sport also is daunting. It's a daunting task. It's not something that it's not a quick. It's not immediate gratification sport to be an entrepreneur. So you have to be able to manage your emotional intelligence. You, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you're going to be pushed, you're going to be challenged, you're going to be shown up, you're going to be dealt with by arrogant and other types of personalities. This is a vanity sport, fashion, or business. So, you're going to get into these spaces where, your heart is going to, be volatile, So my advice to everybody, including myself, is that you need to have some sort of moral compass. And you need to first be honest when you go into business and you say, Dag, I know this is a good idea, but I really don't like the person. Okay, I know this is a good idea, but I think this person is not really responsible, but I'm going to act like he is so I can get in. Okay, you have to be upfront and you have to say that, like a sit down. Look, I don't think you're responsible. Can you prove to me over here that you can? And then if we can do a probational period in our partnership, maybe we can try this over here. Maybe we could try this over there.
By being open like that.
But if I'm afraid,
the relationship healthy.
But if I'm afraid for you to turn me down, if I'm afraid for you to say to me, well, I don't even want to do nothing with you no more anyway. I'm going to be shy to say in the beginning, well, you know what? I have concerns about how you manage your money on your own time. Do you have any habits that I have to be concerned with? We're doing business now. Do you do anything on your part time?
Because it
can affect the business. It can affect
because it becomes personal again. Because now my money is entwined with yours. My life, my income, so forth. But
I have to have the courage in the beginning of the partnership. Even if I'm looking at the next coming Jay-Z himself, he's sitting right here. He's about to write the next Reasonable Doubt. It's happening. If I feel like I need to express something to him in the beginning that's critical and crucial to our partnership that can actually make us go our separate ways, I have to bring that up in the beginning.
And I believe that you should have the courage enough to actually.
And if you don't, my warning to all you entrepreneurs, including myself, if you don't at these crucial mornings,
you started off on an unhealthy ground. That's the road to that relationship actually being tarnished.
Yep. And during these strategic partnerships. Because you're sliding through strategic partnerships because everybody on social media is a brand.
And you also got to stomp out silent expectations. What do I mean by this? Meaning that two people, as Coach was saying to me earlier, two people have an understanding at first. We don't put down no written contract. And we're doing business and we're thinking like, this is how it is. So a big opportunity come our way. So we have some investors, they want to come in and say, you know what, I want to help take you guys to the next level, right? But you think in one way that this is what your partnership actually is. And then the other one thinking one way because they had a certain type of expectation of each other as thinking that this is what it was. But then now that the money is on the table, you find that the other partner do something totally different than what you was actually expecting.
I did all the work anyway.
And then you're like, I thought we was on.
Yeah, but the lack of the breakdown of communication, the lack of transparency, and not working within an operating agreement. When you step to the plate for the next opportunity, someone else is going to translate how you guys operate for you.
Because we're best friends when we broke. So we're both broke. We're both trying to get the dream off the ground. It's all good.
I ain't broke shit.
No, I'm not meaning you. This was a general. I ain't taking shots at my man right now. But listen, but you're best friends when you're actually trying to get the dream off the ground, when y'all both at that level. But soon when the money start dangling, right, you have to be honest, right? You can't think of ways of trying to, how can I get the money and exclude him? How do I get the money and exclude this person? How do I realize that now, no, I do most of the work? Right? Or, you know what, you do really bare minimum. So we're going to put you on socks here. You know, I think that's you're really good at that role.
And then you might make it up to fries.
You understand what I'm saying? But none of that was understood before anybody came in. So now that somebody come in here, get ready to go to the next plateau.
Okay, so now what if we having these meetings and one of the partners just say, look, man, I'm not, I don't feel like it. I don't got time. I'm tired. I'm doing something else, man. Call me after the meeting. What do you do then?
It have to be rules, and those rules have to be followed, and it have to be what we call penalties, so that we can have a healthy thing. How do I hold you accountable for that? How do I check you for that? You can't say, okay, no, just call me after the meeting. No, what do you mean call me after the meeting? So we have to have rules to define that, because if any decisions being made about the business and it's your right to know, and I either put your input in, and then something happened without your knowledge, what's going to happen? You're going to blow up. You're going to say, well, you guys didn't even let me know. You said call you after the meeting. Yeah. You said you was tired. You didn't want to. But you can be understanding too. So if it's a real daunting day, or the person. But no, there's a flip side to that, because this is an actual conversation that I've had with some of my previous partnerships. Yeah, without going into any specifics.
No, it's no specifics. This is beneficial. It's an ongoing conversation. The idea of showing up for work and the idea of not showing up for work, and you'll have a toxic productivity. And toxic productivity is being on a treadmill. You're doing labor, but you have no projections. You have no reports from previous. You're just in this space of just working. Yeah, and then now your partner notices that, no, man, we're not working hard. We're working hard, but we're not working smart. So now the partner that's more of the, maybe behind the computer, maybe more planning, maybe more of a bean counter with the numbers, okay, he may not have the physical every day. He might be more the communicator, the marketer, the sales rep of the team. These type of things can take place. So then and then you'll have a portion of the team or the portion of the business saying, oh, look, that's not the real work. So if these roles aren't defined, you have to define them, and you got to delegate. And you got to delegate. And everybody is not supposed to do everybody's job, but everybody's supposed to be aware of and have awareness of everybody's job, so they can delegate and fill in. But if you define the roles and you hold them accountable for their responsibilities, then that's where your judgmental should come in at. Your judgmental should not come in, oh, I'm doing all the work and he's not. But what is the role? But that becomes his responsibility. He's good here. Yeah. So we need to exercise what he's good at. This is his strength. But that's a part of managing the expectations. Everybody's expectations have to get managed. So if I'm looking like, yo, I did my job already. I came in, I laid my tracks down, I did what I had to do. Now I'm over here doing something else. And then now you're in a space and you feel like that. After we said these what the roles are, now you're feeling like, I'm still doing all of the work. See, these are the things that really having. Well, people have to be honest with themselves. Well. You nailed it. in defining the roles, we can't pull each other's nooses. We can't pull each other's rings like that, and work each other like that, because that's a form, like the husband and wife do that. You know, actually, it's manipulation and persuasion.
I experienced this as a partner. Not getting into specifics, but being a part of a demanding type of business that we were in, and a venture that I have in a partner, and one partner felt as though, and the role just kept changing. One partner felt as though
the goalpost keeps moving. Like, well, no, you're not doing enough work. Now I need you to go take the trash out. What you mean? I did this, that, and the third. We agreed to this.
I need you to do the inventory. Well, you're not cooking, but I know you're not cooking, but I need you to make up for everything else. Well, I can't do the inventory. Well, I need you to do now the inventory on top of that, take the trash out on top of that. Now I need you to learn how to cook. You understand?
Yes.
Matter of fact, until we explode, and I say, you know what? I just leave you with the business. But you're the cook. We got together.
Okay.
You're the cook.
You just answered your own question.
Yeah.
Because the roles weren't defined and agreed on. And a part of defining roles isn't just giving a name, because we're good at that too. Let me just come up with a name for my man. Yeah. Yo, you assistant director, a such and such. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. It sound cool. You my executive producer.
But when it's time to iron it out and what it really is, it's
there's no real illustration of
nobody want to be held accountable.
There's no illustration of what that job requires or what it entails. There's nothing really telling you what to do.
But I actually dealt with that where somebody just walk out the business on you and say, you know what? You figure it out.
Right. And now there's a level of work that owners do. There's a level of work that the labor personnel does. And I just think, for the sake of this conversation, since we're all workers, since we're entrepreneurs and workers, if we're partnered with our friends and we know that our friends have different varying work ethics, and we don't want to necessarily leave somebody behind because of the bad habits we knew they had since high school.
We gotta exploit their strengths, and we gotta understand how to encourage their weaknesses,
and put that wedge underneath their weaknesses. And if that wedge is maybe a percentage, if that wedge is perhaps finding somebody to do their job, and that comes out of something later, we can work it out. But don't use the weakness to leverage somebody
to 50-50 if they are slacking on other areas that you might need them for, or they can't fulfill those things. That's true.
But all of this is going to come from good leadership. So somebody in that crew, because it really should be three.
But all this does, back to our core conversation, all of this protects the friendship after the business.
Right.
Because if you're worrying about this, then you're making sure that, you know what, at the end of the day, we had fair trade. We had a business, the business lost. But we didn't lose.
Yeah, we still learned from we learned our lesson.
We're still intact.
But
if none of this is defined, you're gonna have a person coming out of the business hating you.
Because they feel like you got into business to take advantage of them from the onslaught. And that's a trick from negative energy. And I always say this to him, not that he looks at things negative or not negative, but just as an encouragement of we're coming in contact with so many different people on a daily, weekly basis, whether it's this in this format or this platform or that one. You got to make 100 excuses for why a person is reacting or moving a certain way. You can't just assume, oh man, he was trying to get me the whole time.
That's true.
He was trying to take me down the whole time. And that's how you remain friends. By not being suspicious.
No. You overlook faults.
Unless you see the hand in the cookie jar, I saw you, bro. You got crumbs on your beard.
You make excuses. You overlook faults. That's a given. But when it comes to responsibility, you can hold them accountable. You can't feel wrong for holding someone accountable to responsibility, because this is an integral component to your actual business.
It is.
So, for example,
and it has to be enough mutual respect that if I do hold you up on what you agreed to,
because it's a business,
you're not gonna get arrogant and act like I can't say anything to you.
We're friends. We can go to the market. We can go out and eat. So, for example, we're gonna go out and eat. All right, let's go to a seafood joint. And when we leave, there's no consequences. But we can't do that with the business.
And this also applies to family.
That?
This also applies to family and business.
We can't do that with the business, because if we go, right?
Some people just got a sickness when it comes to money too, bro. Sometimes money is just a problem for people, and you got to know when not to put the money in your friend's hand. That's the other one. You got that friend that's the creative, or you got that friend that's this person, or you got that partner that's that person. Again, y'all have to know each other. And if you put a burden on somebody that they can't bear, you're responsible for that, not them. And you knew this person.
No. They still take a responsibility for it, but you should be. If you know that this is the person and you know they might got sticky fingers or you know they're just not responsible enough when it comes to the financial part of things, then you should not leave it in their care.
But that doesn't mean you can't do business or you shouldn't be friends. See, we're trying to prevent the tear down in our community. And the tear down is coming from the broken relationships, not the fact that we feel good about each other in the beginning. We love each other. Everybody's good. Everybody's a canon.
But after the relationship, after the business actually don't succeed or whatever the case may be, we just start feeling some type of way towards each other. There's a big wedge there.
It's a big wedge.
And how do we prevent that? So I believe it's more eternal.
Yeah, what's the solutions, brother?
No, I just believe it's a more internal thing than it is a more external thing. But I do believe that if we do stick to those guidelines, define our rules, try to live up to our responsibilities, have those daily meetings, be more transparent, be more effective in our communication, emotional intelligence. I know I'm hammering all these things all together and it's not being really picked out, but I think these
are fine bullet points to check off.
We can actually check off because you can say, for example, I am aware of how I feel about the situation or how I feel about the other person. I'm aware of that. And if he voice or she voice a concern about how she may feel or gave me some insight or how she might feel about me, then or how he might feel about me, then I can examine that. And I should be aware of that to make sure that I do not impede on that person's feelings or not even show any concern or compassion for, so that way it gives me that emotional intelligence I need to have.
And I like what you said about stampeding or trampling over your friend. There's a principle in Islam that you eat from that which is closest to you. Okay, so in business or in strategic partnerships or in collaborations, you'll find your friends coming to you and drawing to you and wanting to do things to you, like more like a magnet. You'll be a magnet to people wanting to do things to you if they see that you aid them in what they want to eat. You're a lazy Susan and you're always putting what they want in front of them for them. You're preferring them over yourself. You want for them what you want for yourself. And you're eating what's closest to you. You're not reaching over the plate and you're not bombarding that other person's role or ain't no lime here for you to shine here. Sometimes you got to know when it's not your time to shine and let that other person take the lead role and you support that. And you were talking about that before. Why don't we support each other? You know, somebody's doing the same thing that you're doing. They got a podcast, they got a clothing line, they got a restaurant. You like the food, you'll recommend the food. So the same thing goes in these scenarios, and that builds friendship, that builds camaraderie, and that builds collaboration, which leads to money, which creates cash flow. Cash flow comes from shaking hands. I'll give you one even better. Cash flow comes from giving hugs. So,
which again, like you know, even like what Benny was saying, just in that fifth thing, you know, that a simple gesture, a kind gesture, is more effective and it lands in a more efficient way when you deal with a customer. A customer will remember you on the way that you interact with them, more so than just your status or even the item you're selling. Because sometimes, as my man always, you know, coach always remind me, a fundamental principle in this business is that everyone is not buying for the same reason you're selling. So with that concept, I understand that if a person is kind towards you, everyone can understand that. You can uplift someone if you give them just lend them an ear, just lend them, you know, give them a smile, just give them a kind word. That goes a long way.
Yes.
So now I feel comfortable doing business with you. We had a spot that we were doing business at. Me, myself, and I had two other partners. We had a lady who would come by, and she would speak with us for about 20 minutes, but she would always buy, right? But she wanted to have her time to talk.
Yes.
Right? And if we would have just shut her down from that time to talk, well, this is a place of business, it's not for that, we wouldn't have been patronized by her.
Yeah.
So just being kind and understanding that gives us that leeway to have. It's just, like you're saying, it's that morality, that being a good person and all that, that's important.
It's provocative. It provokes things. It provokes good energy.
You can actually use it with you and your friend. Everything don't have to be serious. We were friends before the business. We should still remain friends in the business if we conduct the business in the correct way.
Him and I are a good example. We've worked on every side of the coin. I've worked for him. He's worked for me. We've worked in partnership. Yeah. We've went our separate ways. Yeah. We was purely friends. So the fact that we kept that mutual respect and that transparency, the door was always left open to try something again.
Or even if you didn't try, the friendship still was there. And that's the thing we're talking about. The friendship still remains intact. That we didn't allow the business aspect to say, you know what, I'm just done with you. And it was heated conversations, no matter who you are. You got heated conversations with siblings. Yes. You got heated conversations with friends. You got heated conversations with family. That's how it works.
You got to have thick skin.
But you have to have not only just thick skin, but you have to have a balance that you maintain. Yes, that was that. But when I calm down, I still recognize, still love you, still respect you. But hey, we're not seeing eye on this issue. Maybe this issue is not for us to do together.
Yes.
You know, and we still can hold on. But oftentimes I see a lot of people go into business and they come out actually on the opposite end as if they're, you know, they are opponents to one another. That's my, you know, for lack of better words, my op.
And even if, wait a minute, that hit, and right before we go, because I want to wrap this up, because I got to get back to the business here. Yeah. But a lot of times that does take place. The two friends started together, and then they do go their separate ways. They might start, the one friend might get his own business similar to the business they had together. And now they actually are two competing businesses in the same marketplace.
It's a competitive space.
It's a competitive space. So even that we shouldn't allow to get in the way of our friendships.
No,
because
that's okay. The problem with me is the disdain that you might have for the next person. Now they are really an opponent to you. Mm-hmm. I'm deliberately trying to go out of my way. Not that we're competing in the same space. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But if we're competing towards each other for a whole different reason other than the business, then that becomes a problem. Because that wasn't there when we first got together.
Right.
Coach and Benny got some good things coming up. We got an event coming up here on Saturday, which is the 21st. We're going to be interviewing some good people, some good guests. So Coach and Benny will be doing that. We do have some other things going on that will be coming up soon. I think we have something on the 28th that we also will be bringing you guys. So just expect from us to come in and give you our this here, and then also give you our guest list, and also give you our infomercials as well, because they are coming soon. So I just want you guys to know that we're going to try to stay on our toes to make sure that this thing, that we service you guys in the best way.
All right, and do remember we have the pop up with Stratford, the Stratford brand here at the store, Search and Rescue Dry Goods General Store. That's the 21st and the 22nd. We're gonna have a DJ here, some giveaways, and on the 28th we'll be at Swarthmore College.
Yes.
We'll be a part of. We'll be
floor there.
We'll be guests. We're not going to be speaking or anything like that. But
we'll be working the floor. Coach and Benny will definitely be working the floor.
We're going to start taking the show off site and into different places that inspire us, and right into the businesses of the people that we feel like speak to the 10 Stat Commandments. So, thank you.
To the next deposit.
Peace.